Hi, welcome to the 10th edition of the podcast that I'm doing, or whatever you want to call it. This week we're doing, today, I always say this week, today we're doing 11 to 20 of 2nd Nephi 2. Now, I want to start first, if we look here, that about the punishment is a fixed opposition to that of happiness, which is affixed to answer the ends of the atonement. As I talked yesterday, there's a lot about the atonement yesterday, and as we go through, you'll see very few references today in the next 10 verses specifically of the atonement, even of mentioning God specifically, but have to remember that this is all about answering the ends of the atonement. When it talks about the opposition and all things. So I'm just going to read this one, because this is scripture mastery. We growing up would have known this one. For it must needs be that there is an opposition in all things. If not so, my firstborn in the wilderness, righteousness could not be brought to pass, neither wickedness, neither holiness, neither misery, neither good nor bad. Wherefore all things must needs be compound in one. Wherefore it should be in one body, it must needs remain as dead, having no life, neither death, nor corruption, nor incorruption, happiness nor misery, neither sense nor sensibility. I am sure if you're like me, you kind of zone out after that. He just goes through and he talks about the importance of this opposition in all things, and that it even says here that if it wasn't for that, the wisdom of God and his eternal purposes. Which eternal purposes? The purposes of the atonement. Also, the power and mercy and justice of God. Again, about this, the mercy of God in this, which is, again, about the atonement. But we have to realize that what we're talking about here is that there is an opposition in all things. One thing that I think is a bit that I always try to remember is that when we're talking about this, and it says that if there's no righteousness, there'll be no happiness. If there's no happiness, there's no misery. Which sounds good, but it is saying if there's not one, there's not the other. But also you have to remember that there is no, this is not talking about individual people. There's not, if you're a good person, doesn't mean there's an opposite bad person. This is saying we've got choice to be a good person or a bad person. I believe that every single person on the planet has a choice to be good. And if everybody chose to be good, it wouldn't take away their choice to be bad. It would still be there because it's in opposition to it. But that is the thing that we decide for ourselves. I always think of Descartes when I read this, because it goes all the way from all these things. If there's not happiness, there's not punishment. If there's not opposition in things, then there is no God. And if there's no God, we are not. Neither the earth, for there could not have been a creation of all things, neither to act or be acted upon. Wherefore all things must have vanished away. Kind of in Descartes, he sort of works back that nothing exists if there. He starts with God and works back to we're nothing, and then from there he goes and says, I think, therefore I am, and then he works back to God. Interesting with this is with Lehi, he starts with God as a center, or works from us back to God, and then he says, for there is a God, and he hath created all things. So if he's created all things, then everything else falls into place. I think that's really amazing, that really we can start with God and understand that he is God, and that when we feel like we're worthless, that we're worth nothing, and that we don't understand why we're created or something, we can start with God. He exists, and we know that. Not only that, he loves us, and he has created us, and he's created us for his eternal purposes. Let's go down to bring about his eternal purpose in the end of man, after he had created our first parents. So when we feel like we're worthless, or that we don't have a reason, we do have a reason, and the purpose is God's eternal purpose, and he says that we are worth something to him, so much that he sent his own only begotten Son, and that he gave us the atonement of Jesus Christ for us. I'm going to end it there. I know that we've only gone 5 verses, and there's a whole bunch more. The next part is mostly about our first parents, Adam and Eve, and we'll talk more about that next time anyway. And have a good day.